A federal judge has ordered further investigation of Hillary Clinton's private email server, and I can't believe I'm making a video about this 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years after the general election. We are still talking about this, and I want to say, listen, Hillary Clinton used a private email server that did contain classified information. She destroyed evidence by purging the servers using BleachBit, and her aide, one of her assistants, actually destroyed her phones with a hammer. Not like that would do anything, but I think that shows clear intent, trying to destroy the... Look, I fully expected something to come from this. And it's funny people on the left are saying, oh, who cares about her emails? And now they're trying to compare it to Ivanka Trump. No, Ivanka Trump used personal email for somewhat work-related things that weren't classified. Hillary Clinton sent classified emails, or her server had classified information, destroyed evidence, and her assistant further destroyed evidence, and it's actually much more complicated than that. But let's read this breaking news, or the latest story, I should say. Judge calls Clinton emails one of the gravest modern offenses to government transparency, orders further investigation. On Thursday, a federal judge ordered further investigation into officials' handling of Hillary Clinton's private email server during her 4-year tenure as Secretary of State. Her use of an unapproved, unsecured private email server, he said in the blistering ruling, is one of the gravest modern offenses to government transparency. I certainly agree. Wow. I just want to say this again. When this news broke, I was worried because the left was downplaying the severity of someone as powerful as Hillary Clinton in government actually destroying evidence. We have a thing called the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. You'll notice journalists often use that. Yet, for political reasons, people are willing to overlook the severity of a government official destroying public records. The ruling revolves around a Freedom of Information Act suit brought by a conservative government watchdog, Judicial Watch. U.S. District Court Judge Royce Lamberth ruled Thursday should be given access to documents and be permitted to acquire additional testimony about Clinton's use of a private server and officials' failure to be transparent about information searches related to it. Judge Lamberth's opinion, published by Politico, begins by quoting former President Barack Obama, who on his first full day in office waxed eloquent about the importance of transparency in government and declared his administration's commitment to FOIA. In our democracy, the Freedom of Information Act, which encourages accountability through transparency, is the most prominent expression of a profound national commitment to ensuring an open government. All agencies should adopt a presumption in favor of disclosure to renew their commitment to the principles embodied in FOIA, and to usher in a new era of open government. The presumption of disclosure should be applied to all decisions involving FOIA. Sounds more like Obama, who prosecuted more whistleblowers under the Espionage Act than all other presidents combined. Sounds like a lot of bloviating. Is that the right word? Sounds like a lot of hot air, if you ask me. But in this case, faced with one of the gravest modern offenses to government transparency, his state and Justice Departments fell far short, Lamberth wrote. So far short, the court questions, even now, whether they're acting in good faith. Did Hillary Clinton use her private email as Secretary of State to thwart his lofty goal? Was the State Department's attempt to settle this FOIA case in 2014 an effort to avoid searching and disclosing the existence of Clinton's missing emails? And has state ever adequately searched for records in this case? Why would they? Tribalism, the whole game. When Judicial Watch filed its FOIA suit in July 2014 over the State Department's false talking points on the Benghazi attack, the judge notes, officials knew that Clinton's private emails were missing from its records. State played this card close to its chest, he wrote. At best, state's attempts to pass off its deficient search as legally adequate during settlement negotiations was negligence born out of incompetence. At worst, career employees in the State and Justice Departments colluded to scuttle public scrutiny of Clinton, skirt FOIA, and hoodwink this court. And I want to now say, listen, does this even matter? Well, they're calling for further investigation. They're calling this out. So that's at least a good thing. But I'll tell you what. They destroyed evidence, they destroyed the emails, they destroyed the phones, and they'll get away with it. Why? Because there's no evidence, so what can you really do? Are they going to go after Clinton and her people for destroying evidence? No. Comey wouldn't do it. Whenever we hear these big stories, when I hear about like this QAnon conspiracy stuff, and people think that at some point someone in government is actually going to go after the corruption, I laugh. I just laugh. You really think people are going to go into government and actually take out their, people who work near them No, because power tends to, Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power tends to corrupt absolutely. So these people who are in government are probably going, ooh, man, I would call out the corrupt, but then I'm going to be calling out myself, and then someone could come for me. No, 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 no. This is why there are two prominent sayings in street level politics. First, you have the Antifa people who say snitches get stitches. What that means is if you snitch on somebody, they're going to give you lacerations that require medical attention. They're going to beat you up if you tell the truth, if you rat on other people. In policing, they have don't cross the blue line, or the saying the thin blue line, and what this means is basically the same thing. If you work in the police department and someone you know does something wrong, you don't snitch on them. This is common across all communities. During Occupy Wall Street, people were committing crimes in the camp, and they said, don't tell the cops. We'll keep it amongst ourselves, because that's what people do. No one, I would be shocked if anyone in government stood up and said, you know what, we're going to go for the corruption. Nah, because they do it too. Politico notes that Lamberth, a Ronald Reagan appointee and a judge who sparred at times with the Clinton administration, is critical not only of the past administration, but of the Trump administration for failing to adequately follow through on this crucial case. Seriously, wow. To preserve the department's integrity and to reassure the American people their government remains committed to transparency and the rule of law, this suspicion cannot be allowed to fester, he said. To this end, he ordered that both sides discuss a discovery process and report back to him in 10 days to nail down a plan for further fact-finding. Can I just point out, there is a meme, okay? There is a meme whenever a service is discontinued, whenever a company fails, and whenever someone's life ends, whenever they pass. A fake tweet appears where they say, I have information that will result in the arrest of Hillary Clinton. The joke being the Clintons take out their political opponents. And the reason I'm making this joke is because, man, this guy is really, really digging into the Clintons, or at least Hillary Clinton, and it's pretty surprising how they mention he's critical of Trump for not going further into this. They say, at the heart of the issue is the suspicion that State and Justice Department officials were attempting to protect Clinton and the administration by deliberately resisting FOIA searches in her private server, thus attempting to conceal damning information. Like Clinton's admission to Chelsea that she knew the Benghazi attack was a terrorist operation, while the administration publicly described it as a spontaneous riot in response to a YouTube video offensive to Muslims. The historic court ruling raises concerns about the Hillary Clinton email scandal and government corruption that millions of Americans share, said Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton in a statement. Judicial Watch looks forward to conducting careful discovery into the Clinton email issue, and we hope the Justice Department and State Department recognize Judge Lamberth's criticism and help, rather than obstruct, this court-ordered discovery. And so I actually have the file because this was published by Politico. This is Judicial Watch Inc. plaintiff versus the U.S. Department of State. And this is basically what they went through. It's a bit longer and a bit more specific with citation and other things that the Daily Wire story has. But I want to point out the most important thing here. This last paragraph that I just read. At heart of the issue is the suspicion the State and Justice Department officials were attempting to protect Clinton and the administration by deliberately resisting FOIA searches in her private server. They were trying to withhold evidence. Hillary Clinton then destroyed her server. She used something called BleachBit, and this is fascinating. They attempted to get the emails back. BleachBit was so effective at purging these emails that the company actually uses the story as a bragging point. They market Hillary Clinton destroying evidence to prove how effective their service is. Now look, I'm not going to point the finger at BleachBit. I just want to point out how proud, maybe not proud, but how they're like, hey, it works. If Clinton can destroy the emails and you can't recover them, BleachBit must be fantastic. But then when we hear that her aide smashed her phones with hammers, it makes me laugh because that's one of the most idiotic things you can do in attempting to get rid of evidence. That's not going to do anything, but it does show intent. They were trying to destroy the devices so the emails could not be recovered. And now we have this. A judge calling for a further investigation, criticizing Trump for not pursuing this, and at the heart, stating that the State and Justice Departments were trying to protect the Clintons who had done something wrong. Absolutely crazy. Well, we'll see if this actually goes anywhere. But I'm going to say this. I really, really doubt anything will come of this. You know why? How often are powerful people actually taken down for being corrupt and awful? Never! Extremely rarely, at least. And people who are taken down because they cross their own people. If you work in politics, in my opinion, the only reason you'll ever falter is because, one, they need a patsy, or two, you've pissed off somebody within the community and they've decided to remove you. So I really, really, really don't think anything will happen. Anyway, I've got more videos on this channel. There are a couple more coming up today, and you can just go to my channel and watch more videos because there's tons. I do 3 per day. Stick around. Videos coming up in a few minutes.